Hi versus the world!
All right, welcome guys to the Only Games podcast where we talk about games, mainly indie games, and we interview developers, amazing developers. Some are featured on the Screenshot Saturday or Feature Friday, maybe Wishlist Wednesday on my YouTube channel. Here we have EM Game Dev. He's creating an awesome game called Galaxy Divided, based on the Star Wars universe, which I'm a huge fan of. So when I was talking about him, let's introduce him right now. EM, go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience.
Well, first of all, hi. How are you all doing? Um, I'm 15. I'm a solo developer who started game development from a year and a half ago, and that's my dream game. I'm making it right now, and it's called Galaxy Divided. And I'm a huge Star Wars fan. And, it's like my dream game that I always wanted to play, and it's the reason I started game development.
Oh, well, you said you're 15 making this your first game. That's
Yes,
impressive. That's oh,
thanks.
when did you start making just like basic games like like game jam games or whatever before you made this
Well,
game?
my first game was in a game jam. It was the Secret Santa game jam. It's like you make a game for someone who sends you a letter. So you get inspired by the letter and you make him a game. And my first game was a 2D pixelated game. It was a shooter. But looking at it now, it's like so horrible.
I mean, we all start somewhere, right? Because in game development, you
Yeah,
can't
of
just start off
course.
making like The Last of Us or some like or the Hollow Knight and make like a
Yeah,
masterpiece. You got to like start from the basic building blocks and work your way up. But that's pretty
exactly.
cool. Like that you're this young making this cool of a game. So like, I have a question, like because I'm a big Star Wars fan. That's why I caught my eye in the first place. Is what made you want to create a game in the Star Wars universe?
Well, like I said, this game is the reason I started game dev. So, first of all, I was very mad. I mean, I think every Star Wars fan has at least heard of the old Battlefront 2 game
Yep.
and Republic Commando.
Hmm.
So, I was really mad when EA shut down the live service for the new Battlefront 2. The updates, they stopped making updates. So I was really mad. The game was clearly lacking some heroes. So I decided to make my own game, and I started learning game development. And I quickly gave up on the goal because it was hard to make a Star Wars game in the
Hmm.
multiplayer and all that stuff. And I started learning about copyright and all that Disney stuff. Okay, so I thought that I'll do it anyway. At least I could play it for myself, and it's gonna be single player. But I'm so happy that people are actually loving the game. For now, it's like nothing like the vision, my ambitious vision. So I
So,
started from like 5 months ago.
so Galaxy Divided has been like a 5 month long project.
Yes,
That's pretty impressive for how far you've gotten in the game, or what I've seen so far in the game, like with the ships and the troops on the ground and just different environments you've been playing with. Which, like I said, when I first saw it, it immediately transported me into like the Star Wars universe as a Clone Wars soldier. It was one of my favorite one of my favorite movies to watch. Like I said, if certain games aren't doing what you wanted to do in the Star Wars universe, you create your own, which I think is very cool to do. That's how you do it.
it's very fun too. It's like I can compare myself when I first started this project. I thought that I knew a thing or two about Unity. Then I realized that I was a complete noob, and I really pushed my limits in this project, and I became much more experienced and learned a bunch of new stuff about programming and about Unity.
So with using Unity, were you able to like use that to your advantage to make this game like feel fully
Yes,
immersed? I feel like
yes.
when I played the game and I looked at the games like the trailers and the different clips, I felt like I was in the game, like I was in the world of this Clone Wars, back and forth war.
Unity is really great. It's really easy to use, and when you really get a deep understanding of how things work in it, it's not really that hard to make a great game. It's really not that hard.
So I got a question for
But
you. Oh, go ahead. Oh,
yes,
go
of
ahead.
course. No, I was saying that I'm still not that professional in programming and in Unity. I'm still like an intermediate kind of guy.
Hmm.
So it's still hard for me because I'm setting always harder goals to achieve. But I'm learning fast, and hopefully the game in like a year will be finished and will be amazing.
Okay, so you're shooting for like 2022. Sorry, 2023.
Yes, sort of 2023. Yeah.
Okay, cool, nice. So I have a question for you. So, and the whole world of Star Wars, because everyone has their favorites on both sides. Who's your favorite Sith and Jedi from the movies or from the series? Like, so I'm fond of like Darth Maul, who I felt who was gone way too soon. He had, I think, he had one of the lamest deaths in the series or in the
Yeah.
movies ever. He could have been a great villain going forward. But yeah, who's your favorite Jedi and Sith?
Well, my favorite Jedi was first Luke Skywalker, then I moved on to Obi-Wan Kenobi
Hmm.
after watching the Clone Wars. Um, my favorite Sith is Darth Vader from the very beginning.
Classic. Classic villain.
Classic.
Yes, one of the best. It's weird because like when I watched it when I was younger, I think I was like 10 years old when I first saw the original three, I'll say, movies. Is I saw him, I was afraid of him, I was mad at him for hurting Luke Skywalker, but then at the end I felt bad for him. Like he's the first villain I think I felt bad that he passed away, other than
Yeah.
satisfaction. I'm like, wow, they really did a great job in making him a sympathetic villain in the end.
Yes, of course. He's the best.
He is the best. From his voice, with mannerisms to how he just, it's like, I don't know, how he didn't need to like, I guess he does choke people out, with the force choke, whatever, but he doesn't need to do that often to really get his point across and be authoritative. Like he just speaks and you listen to him and he follows
Yes.
directions.
And you actually question why is he so cold-blooded? Why is he so neutral about everything?
Yes,
And
exactly.
why is he so cruel? But then you watch the prequels and the Clone Wars series, and you realize how tough it was for him. And it's really cool to see his backstory. That
Exactly.
really amplifies my love for him.
Yes, it's a very deep character. I love that. That's why I loved. That's what made me fall in love with Star Wars in the first place. Like that character between him and Luke Skywalker, it's like that's a great like cool up until the end. Great like hero villain story. Plus they're both like
Yes,
related, which was a great reveal. But it was just great. I
exactly.
just love that. I love Star Wars. So your future plans for the game, right? So from what I've seen, that there are like capture the flag scenarios, base defense, or all out war in the game. So what are your future plans for this game? Is it gonna be a story mode, an online multiplayer? Are there boss battles? Like what's gonna happen in the game?
Well, first of all, it's likely not going to be any multiplayer.
Okay.
But I will make a Galactic Conquest mode. It's like a Risk. Like, did you ever play the board game Risk?
Yeah,
Well,
a long time ago with friends, like junior high school. Yeah.
yeah, well, it's like that, but you play each battle on the ground, and you buy
Okay.
resources and all that stuff.
Okay, so it's like a large map, and you go to certain
Yes,
places to take over, and then when you say you click on one of the locations, you have to go into the battle and fight it out, and then go back to
yes,
the map.
exactly.
That'd be kind of
And
cool.
I'm gonna add a campaign as well. We have someone writing it right now, currently.
Oh, nice. How many members do you have on your team right now in this
It's let me check. It's around 4, I guess. Yes, we are 5, including me.
That's impressive. That's very cool. So, yeah, I've never seen like a risk type game in a long time. I think the last time I played a risk type game was like I don't want to say Age of Empires or I think it was Age of Empires or one of those kind of games. Like way back in the '90s, they had those RTS games were really popular. I remember playing that with
Yeah.
my friends, and I don't see a lot of that nowadays. I see a lot of like platformers, roguelikes, first person shooters, but that'd be really interesting to see like how like I guess is it gonna be like one of those like where you're a Clone War member, or you can be different characters to take over the certain
Well,
territory.
no, you're just for now, I think you're just gonna be a clone and you're gonna fight alongside Jedis, but you're not gonna be a Jedi. It's more like a clone life simulator.
Okay,
And you get to command your ships, and it's a bit open world because you can go to maps you already conquered and explore them a bit.
that sounds awesome though. No, so question. I remember I saw like the first time I saw the trailers or different kind of like gameplay footage of the game. There were ships and they were like I saw the ships, I saw the outfits and the sound effects. How were you able to get all that into your game? Like, I'll say safely because you know how like certain
Yeah,
companies will
I
try to
got
like
you.
lawsuits or shut the game down if it's too similar to what they are creating. How are you able to get around all of that to make your game? so authentic?
First of all, for the models, they are from Sketchfab, most of them. The other parts are made by me or by my team. Well, the models from Sketchfab are licensed to be commercially used. Like the commercial usage is allowed
Hmm.
as long as you credit the creators. So
Okay.
for the models, I think I'm safe. I think.
Okay.
I hope.
Yeah, hopefully you don't get a phone call from Disney like, "Hey,
Hey, shut down the
shut
game
it
now.
down, throw it away, please. We see what you're doing with the game. We don't like it."
Yeah,
No, hopefully not.
I hope so. I'm praying for it.
Yeah, because it's like a retelling of your own story. Like it should be. I think it should be okay. But I understand if Disney is annoyed. But you know what? Disney's in phase what 5 or 6 of their Marvel universe, and they're making other movies and shows on Disney Plus. I think they're busy. I think you're fine.
Yeah, I think I'm fine for like a year or so.
Exactly. Until like when this game blows up, like wait a minute. Like, get a little ring from Mickey
Yeah.
Mouse. Like what's going on here? Then you'd be in trouble. But until that happens, I think you're in the clear.
Yeah, I gotta use this potential for now.
Exactly. Max it out as much as possible before you get that phone call.
Exactly.
So question, like as an indie developer, like I feel like the struggle can be real. Like I go on Twitter and I talk to different developers, and the one thing I always say is how tough how much a struggle the development process is. It can be. It can be highs and lows, and yeah, I think I'm pretty sure you and your team are familiar with that. So, like, what do you recommend to your fellow developers as a way to take time off and relax in the creation process?
Well, a lot of people would recommend to not start a project that is way too hard for them. Well, I do not. I say I recommend to start a project that is very hard for you
Hmm.
because this will help you. This helped me. This project really helped me, even though it was looking impossible for me. But something important to keep in mind: please take a break for 2 days, for 3 days. Take a break
Hmm.
like every month because I was starting to have like fever dreams, like nightmares of my game not working. The AI took me a month just to work, and it's still not that good. The AI is still not very good.
What were some of the weirdest dreams you had, or nightmares, to say, about the game?
Well, they were really weird. I don't really remember them much, but it's like the clones are starting to fire at the droids, but they fire in the air. The bullets are going up or down, not hitting the droids. I don't know. It's really weird.
Yeah, the
It
nightmares.
was it was a problem. It was a very, very, very big problem
Yeah, nightmares
that
of
I
like
couldn't
what?
seem to fix.
Yeah, wait, go ahead.
Well, I was saying that problems were easy to solve.
Hmm.
They seemed easy to solve, but I couldn't solve them, and I would get frustrated
Oh,
all
gotcha.
night.
Yeah, like nightmares of game bugs going haywire, and you couldn't seem to
Yeah,
pin down what to do to keep the game on track. That's a nightmare.
that is one hell of a nightmare.
Yeah, I see. Like,
So I
yeah,
took a break. I
good,
took a break for like 2 days.
good, good. Yeah, that's important because like I see that all the time. Like burnout is real. I mean, when you're creating something, especially a game, if you're the first time developer, or you can be at a big studio like AAA studio and still feel that, no matter what department you're in. So it is very important to like, okay, you know what, this game's gonna. I know what it's gonna. I wanted to come out in 2023, whatever. It has to come out later or 2024. That's okay too. If I have the funding for it, that's okay too. That's fine. Because if you can't, if your mental health isn't there, it's very hard, difficult to work on what you love.
Yes, exactly. It's even impossible.
Yeah.
You will hate your work,
Mm-hmm.
no matter what.
A question for you for 2020, because we're at home, couldn't go anywhere. I spent my
Yeah.
time watching Netflix shows. I think I watched every. I think I reached the end of Netflix like 3 times, and Hulu, and Prime Video, everything. I watched all the movies. So, what was your go-to hobby in 2020?
Well, it was mostly sitting down and watching YouTube videos. That was it mostly.
Which videos were your go-to?
Well, I'd usually watch like I'm a huge fan of Marvel and Star Wars, both of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I started watching movies and breakdowns and all that stuff.
Like behind the scenes of how they created
Yes.
certain things. Yeah, in the universe. Yeah.
And uh, and late in late 2020, I started learning about programming. I bought myself an Arduino kit. I don't know if you ever heard of Arduino.
Kind
It's
of, but
like an
what is that?
electronic thing. It's like an electronic components, and you
Okay.
program them to create something, a machine. So
It's like
I
a
started.
mixer?
Well, it's a bit more complicated than that.
Mhm.
It's more like some electronic stuff that you program and create your own invention.
I think I've
And
seen
I
it
was
one time
fond of
before.
electronics
Okay.
back then. So that's how I started programming. And after like 2 weeks, I switched on to game development in like super late 2020, like December 2020.
I like that because like 2020 was hard enough, but if you can find something that will like, just propel you forward and what you want to do, whether it be your work or whether it be like a hobby or anything else, that's more power to you because we had a lot of time on our hands at that time to do anything we wanted.
Yes.
Sleep
Even
mostly.
2021 was at home. We were staying at home most of the time.
Mhm.
So I learned game dev in these times.
Great time. It's a great way to spend your time. That's for sure, dude. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
it didn't feel boring at all.
Yes, I have some random questions for you. All right, you ready for this?
Ready.
Random questions. So, what would you do if you suddenly inherited $1 million?
I try to get the license for my game. Like seriously, I try
Yeah,
to do it. Then donate the rest to I don't know, charity maybe.
that's
Because
good.
I'm happy with my life. I don't really need money
Mhm.
in any way. So maybe give it to someone who needs it.
That's a great answer. That's good. Yeah, exactly. Use what you can, use what you need, and then give the rest away.
Yeah.
That's awesome. But this, what is the best game you've ever played to date?
The best game?
Yeah.
Uh, that's also a tough one, but let me think about it. I'm sure I can find one.
Mhm. Yeah, that question kind of like changed. My answers changed that question like four or five times in the past like 20 years. There's been so many crazy good games came out.
Well, I couldn't play the old Battlefront 2 when it released because I was born in 2007.
Mhm.
So the best game I've ever played in my entire existence, I think, is the old Star Wars Battlefront 2. It really changed my view on Star Wars, made the clones relatable. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful game. It really inspired me in a
And
lot of stuff.
yeah, that game as far as like story goes, story, lore, and just and gameplay goes, that's one of the most like ambitious games I think I played when I was younger. Blew my
Yeah,
mind.
especially at the time. Especially at the time.
Yeah, like that was I think that's one game that like, made me like fall in love with games like Mass Effect, like long term like story building games, which I didn't have. Like I grew up playing Mario, I grew up playing Mega Man, like just run, jump, shoot, hop, and then you finish the game. This like from Battlefront 2 was like okay, you can sit there, get immersed in the world, learn about everyone's story, learn about what the twists and turns of what can happen in the space drama. Maybe
Yeah.
fall in love with other games just like that, which I wouldn't have time for or wouldn't have patience to play as a young gamer.
Yeah. It was like something revolutionary for the time.
Yeah,
Something new to the table, something fresh.
exactly, exactly. And one last random question is, what emoji are you right now?
What emoji?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know that emoji where the person is happy and he's showing his hands like in a welcoming way?
Yeah. Oh, the hug emoji. Yeah.
Yeah, that's me right now.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Okay, good.
Yeah, I'm grateful for everyone who played the game and gave me some pretty nice feedback, pretty nice suggestions. So I'm pretty grateful and I'm pretty happy that they are so nice.
Awesome. Awesome. That's good. I'm glad people are liking the game and giving me good feedback. And that's always like that's what I love about the indie. One thing I love about the indie game like community is that like when you play a game and then you say okay, you can go on the Discord channel or go on Twitter or Instagram, whatever, YouTube, and give feedback. And if something that's constructive, the developer will be like, oh, okay, yeah, let's change this or keep this or do more of this, and they'll actually listen because ultimately you're creating the game
Yes.
for us to enjoy the most of. It's really cool how like the feedback to creation process works with indie game developers and the gamers who play the games.
Like the feedback really matters for them, unlike the studios who like listen to fans but choose to ignore them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I,
'Cause they only want money, but indie game developers maybe also want satisfaction when they make their games. They sometimes they do want money, of course, Sometimes it turns into a full-time thing. But they put the audience in priority. That's the thing that I love about the indie game dev community. They're so nice. They're actually passionate about making games, unlike the studios or like the studio managers, not the developers, because the studio managers only want their pockets full. Unfortunately, they don't really want to make games that satisfy the audience.
I agree wholeheartedly, and I get it. At the end of the day, both are a business. You want to make money and make sure your game is out there, enjoyed by people. I do feel like at some point, I'm not sure when it happened, maybe in 2010s or something. I do feel like AAA companies kind of lost sight of. I think they forgot to make the game fun, because the game's gonna make
Yeah.
money. It's gonna make money if a game's fun enough. If a game's fun, like any kind of AAA game, Last of Us, Mass Effect, people and they have a good cliffhangers. They're gonna want to keep buying the game and playing the game and enjoying the game and make you a lot of money. It's very very fun to play. But at some point, that's with the NFT stuff. If you haven't heard that before, haven't heard of the NFT things going on right now in AAA gaming? Like with that, I'm worried because they're looking at the dollar first. Like the dollar's first, and that's what they want, and telling us what we want, and then it's maybe the fun factor of the game. But it's not.
Yes,
It's
exactly.
kind of backwards now, which is not what indie game development is about. Indie game development is about like, hey, ultimately, I get one shot to make this game amazing. I want to make sure this game tells a good story. It's personal for me. Most of the games I've played are very personal for the developer, and then the game is great in the end. We keep supporting that developer over and over again, that team.
Exactly.
What's your opinion about the right now, the I guess the state of the gaming industry as far as NFTs go and what's going on with video games and sequels and prequels and reboots and whatnot?
It's sad.
Yeah.
I can't say more than that. It's just sad that what has become of the gaming community. And unfortunately, a lot of gamers just don't focus on indie games. They just focus on the industry games and they complain. But guys, you should see the indie games. They are built by amazing people who leave their personal touch on the game. That's what makes it unique because everyone is unique. Every person is unique. So when you leave your own personal touch on the game design, it will make the game unique and memorable. So why don't you gamers look at these indie amazing games? Why do you always look at the bad industry games?
I,
So
I, I
that's
yeah,
that's a thing that saddens me sometimes.
I agree. I agree because like I've seen. I remember when Battlefield 2042 came out. I'm like, okay, hopefully this. I don't play Battlefield for a long time because just the same thing over and over again. I'm like, okay, 2042 comes out, like 2 years of development. They had time to make this game good. I'm like, cool, all right, maybe I might see what's going on with this game. And immediately
Yeah.
became the most like hated game on Steam. I'm like, okay, what happened? Because everyone can have an opinion about why the game's bad. And I saw someone on there, it's been panned to death, right? Everyone's saying it's negative. One person that I was very concerned about, I'm probably hoping there's more minority of people who play the game, but hopefully not the majority going forward, is that the guy's like, oh, all I had to do was restart the game 3 times and uninstall, reinstall, and it kind of is, and it doesn't have that many bugs. I'm like, but the game shouldn't have any bugs. At this point
Yes,
at this
exactly.
point, 2022, at this point, games should not have in a big studio too, mind you, big studio. The small studios
With
I've seen
with
have
like
none.
what? With like 200 developers.
Right. Like at this point, it should not. You shouldn't be okay with average. You shouldn't be okay with having to do things to your computer to make the game work for you. The game should just work out the box. This is a problem back in '07. I remember that where developers would not finish their games. They got so much flack they had to like work harder and push deadlines to finish a game for a little while. And then now they're right back to this. And the point where now it's getting kind of lazy and making your game like complete. And what they're doing right now is like the DLC. I don't mind DLC if it's gonna enhance the game, like a game like let's say triple A game like Borderlands 1, 2, and 3. Great game because the DLC enhances the game, gives you more to explore. 5+ hours per
Yes, it's a
DLC.
bonus. It's like a
Exactly, it's a
bonus.
bonus. It's amazing. The Witcher series, same thing. Like it's always a bonus. Skyrim, always a bonus. Like I have there's so much. It's like 200 hours of content in the DLC for Skyrim. It's insane. That is cool. But what happens nowadays is like they have the game and then they say, "Oh, we haven't finished it yet. Let's charge them for DLC." let's charge you for this
Yeah,
character that's always
so
been in the game.
you like delayed it. You like delayed it. You delayed the game. You lied to me. And you told me that the game is gonna release in this day. And you released it and you tell me it's half finished. And you're gonna complete it with DLCs that are paid.
Hmm?
What is this?
Yeah,
This isn't like it used to be.
it isn't, and that's what I'm very concerned about. But I like what I really like though is that I watched the Game Awards, and I've seen it's been dominated by AAA games, somewhat here and there indie games. But the past like 4 or 5 years, indies have surpassed AAA games. Like there's been so many more like indies nominated and recognized, and like the commercials for the Game Awards, majority indie games that people can't wait. And you see the chat, people are like, "Oh my god, that game's coming out! This game's coming out!" And they're all indie games. I'm like, dude, that's what we need to be right now as an industry. Support the games that actually are passionate. That you because the past what I think the what did it for me is like I dabbled in indie games here and there, but I played AAA games. But the one game that did it for me was Grease. I'm not sure if you heard that game. Grease. That was like published by Devolver Digital. That game is about because it's a personal touch, this personal story from the developer about her depression and about her mental health from going through grief, like the different stages of grief. And the way it was illustrated and produced was it was a masterpiece game. And after I played that game, I'm like, you know what? That's it for me. Indie games going forward because they tell the stories that matter. I can always run around with a big hulking gun, save the world in AAA any day, but indies tell personal, real life, amazing stories that you connect with.
Yeah.
I think the connection is not there. Hopefully in the future it happens with AAA games, but for now, indie games, man, for me, they just tell better stories and have better
I don't think
characters.
that I don't think that the game industry is ever gonna change. I think it's going bad and it's still going to be bad. But I think the future is bright for indie games
Hmm.
because they are passionate. When you are passionate about something, you will achieve it. You will achieve the goal. But when you're not passionate and you just make it for the money, of course you're not gonna succeed.
Yeah,
You're never gonna succeed.
absolutely. I can't agree more. That's so. I always say. I think I had one one little rant on Twitter about that, about what's going on with Square Enix and Ubisoft and now Konami. I said support indie games. Like you gotta vote with your wallet, support what actually matters, and you have the big don't just buy on hype. That was back in 2007 to 2010 was like hype games. Some panned out, some didn't. But I do recommend any people look at indie games, Steam, Epic Games, Humble Bundle. Like there's a lot of games out there. Go to Keymailer, see the kind of games that you like. You watch movies like the Marvel Universe that connect you. That's what indie game developers are doing. They're telling a nice story that connects you to the game, so you continue to play their games.
Yeah. As I said, they are memorable because the developers leave their personal touch on the game design. That's why they are so unique and memorable. As for today's games in the game industry, they are just copying each other. They're the same thing, especially EA in FIFA and the FIFA series. It's like the same thing over and over again. Why would you make a sequel and let me and make me pay $60 for it? And it's just the same. There's nothing new. There's nothing fresh. Why would I play your new one? I should play the old one without even paying anything.
Yeah, it's gotten to the point where they have their built-in audience. It's the thing. I get it. I get it. The whole I get it. It's if you have a game that's successful in the series, then you just keep doing because it's very expensive to make a new IP successful. It's very whether it's a indie game or a AAA. I get it. It's a business. If you don't hit your mark, you and other people may get fired because you were on the project. I get that. It's scary. But we wouldn't have a Halo or a Gears of War or a Mass Effect or Last of Us or even a BioShock if people didn't take risks to create new IPs. Like you have these long series because you took a risk saying I want to developer EA when they were good said, you know what? Let's just put zombies in this game. It's going to be a small thing. It won't be a big deal. But now people are buying the game for zombies. For a while they were. That was a risk. Because no one wanted you to do it, but you did it anyways, and people liked it. See what happens when you take risks? It pays off then sometimes. But I feel like the gaming industry right now is very comfortable where they are. and they don't want to take those risks. They want to spend that money because they have the built-in audience who, no matter what's going to buy the game, complain about it, but still play the game. But that's in a way, I think it's kind of fleeting because you got to come to the point where people don't want to play that series anymore, and then you have like, yeah, they won't be there anymore, and they're like, I'm kind of over this. Yeah, exactly. So what's your new IP that they can enjoy? I see people going into Nintendo and ID at Xbox. I see more people talking about Game Pass than about AAA games because indie games are fun as hell, dude. Like there's so many different kind of types of games to play.
The game development is an art. So if you keep repeating the same thing, it will stop being special. But in the art, you should always be revolutionary. You should always create something new, and that's what's lacking. Simply, this is it. Just create something new. I mean, okay, it can be the same IP, but create something new in this IP. Like, look at Star Wars, look at the MCU, look at all these. Like, the MCU now opened the multiverse. There's like unlimited potential there. And Star Wars is like has tons of shows on the way. Like the Book of Boba Fett right now is like so sick. You have unlimited potential to do a lot of stuff in your IP. Why don't you do it? Why are you so lazy? Not taking risks is the ultimate downfall for you. You should take risks. This is how things work. You will fall and you will rise again.
Exactly. Amen. I agree wholeheartedly. If you fail, fine. And I feel like a lot of companies are big enough to fail, right? So if you fail, it's no big deal. You maybe get fired here and there, but you go to, say you get fired from a big company, go to make a smaller team, and then make your game you wanted to make, and then it'll be better. But you'll learn from pushing your. I think you learn more about pushing your limits, no matter what you're doing, than staying inside a safe bubble and just doing the same thing over and over again. It's like you got to push yourself. And yeah, everyone fails. That's just life. Like that's what happens in life. But I just pray that I don't know who knows it's going to happen. Some publisher out there in a big company will be like, you know what? I want to get a new IP. This is my idea. Let's make it happen. Like Horizon Zero Dawn, I think was the last game I played that was new in the industry. That was a new idea, and it blew me away. Yeah. Like that was amazing. But I haven't purchased an AAA game like that was hyped about in a long time. Since then, I think. Yeah, since then. I used to because the games were good. But I don't know. We'll see what happens with the industry, man. But I agree with you, man. I do. Things got to change.
Yeah, they get boring pretty quick.
Yeah. Right. So, question: what advice would you give someone wanting to pursue a career similar to yours?
Like create a game that he really wants. That's what you mean. Well, then go for it. Even if it's too ambitious. Like my game is like maybe the most ambitious thing I've ever thought in my life. But do it. Do it, even though it's hard. But you will get there if you deeply want to. Like my game is still very, very far from reaching the vision that I want it to be. And I still don't like my own game because it still didn't reach that. It still didn't reach that vision. But it will be hard. There will be challenges, but you will reach it. You will get there, no matter how hard it is. In everything in life, not just indie games. So go for it. Don't be scared, and don't listen to YouTubers who will say that no, start small. Of course, you should start small. You should start somewhere. But you should always put something hard in front of you as a goal so you can achieve it. If you put something inside your limits, you will fall, just like the game industry will. So you should always put something hard in front of you and try to achieve it.
Yes. That's great advice. That's awesome. Yeah, always challenge yourself, because if you don't challenge yourself, you can't grow. That's how it is. That's how I've always thought that way when I was a little kid. Always try to do something hard. You'll fall, but then you'll learn how to adjust and get better on that level. And then you're like, oh, what's the next level I can achieve? Always looking up. Like, what's the next thing I can do? Then you'll look back like, whoa, I came a long way from where I started.
Yeah, you look back and compare yourself and see, oh my God, I was a noob.
Yeah. And now look at me, a pro. I can always get better, right? Always look how to get better and better in the future. Exactly. So I think we reached the end of this podcast, which, again, thank you for being a guest on here, EM Game Dev.
Thank you for
Before we leave, of course, let everyone know where they're able to find and play the game, Galaxy Divided, and where to follow you as well.
Well, you can guys follow me on Twitter at EM_GameDev. Can you also leave the link for the games page in the description, please?
Of course, of course.
Okay, thank you. And that's how you can download the game. You can also join the server. You will find my Discord server. You will find the link there in the game page, in the games page. You will find the link to join my Discord. You can give me suggestions there or give me feedback, which I really appreciate. I would really appreciate it if you could do it, please.
There we go. And I'll link all that in the description below so you guys can see everything, like where the game is, where to find them on Twitter, join the Discord channel, everything. All that can be down here on the video below. But again, thank you guys. Thank you for being here in Game Dev. Thank you all fans of indie games for being here and listening to the podcast, developers as well. If you want to be on the show, hit me up on Twitter. It's Kaitality, Kaitality. I think everything I have, Instagram, Twitter, is all Kaitality. And of course, in the video here itself, if you want to be on here. And also, be sure to join us every Saturday morning, afternoon, or night, whatever your time is, on Screenshot Saturday, hashtag, and also Wishlist Wednesday as well. I do video features here on the channel for those two hashtags on Twitter. Live feedback to you guys, you're awesome developers. I've been Kaitality, I've been EM Game Dev. This is Kai vs. the World, guys, with the Only Game Podcast. Thanks for listening. Keep being awesome, and I'll see you guys in the next video.